Hey guys, it's Stuart. For the last couple of videos, I've been shooting at night, so I thought I'd switch it up a little bit and take advantage of the sunlight this weekend. And for this video, I want to talk about a more realistic alternative to what you and I are used to hearing about life and career. We all love a good overnight success story, and the media loves feeding it to us. I mean, you and I know that it's mostly an exception and not the rule, but it's really hard not to be affected by it when we're so inundated by it. I think what happens over time is that it starts to be normalized. And for a lot of us, it starts to create more fear than it does enablement or motivation. And I think it leads to a lot of limiting beliefs. So in this video, I want to focus on really cutting out the BS and going straight to what really matters. A view that's more grounded and realistic and more sustainable. I think that most of us really should be focusing on creating a bridge to our success or bridge to whatever we're trying to do versus feeling this pressure and need to make a dramatic leap into it. The way I see it, this concept of building a bridge comes down to two things. Number one is taking calculated risks, not just risks. And number two is endurance. And when I say endurance, I mean financially, mentally, and emotionally. Major decisions are major because it involves more risk than you're used to. And I get it. It's scary to think about potentially losing what you already have and maybe even ending up at a worse spot at the end of it. So I've been there. I felt this fear before, so I'm all about hedging against all of this. So my point here is to take the growth approach, to take the learning approach. You should test out your ideas, and you should put in the smallest amount of investment to gain just the right amount of confidence so you could do just a little bit more the next time and get just a little bit closer to your goal. When I was thinking about transitioning into UX design full-time, I started out by reading a ton of books. The craft of design, the business of design, the theories about it. I read all of it. And then I moved into informational interviews with people in the industry. And on top of that, I was practicing using some of the recommended design software. I did this for about 2 years, and it took me 2 years to mentally and emotionally feel comfortable about potentially quitting my job and going into UX design full time. The other part of it was the financial piece. I was doing really well financially in my mid 20s, late 20s, and I was married, I was expecting a kid. So the prospect of taking this sort of risk and potentially making less money, which design, especially if I was starting over, I wouldn't be making that much money in the beginning. It wasn't an overnight decision. It took a lot of time for me to get there. I needed to save up some reserves so that I could endure through some of the ups and downs in me trying to get this career started. So I had to take bite-sized risks and make small investments little bit at a time for me to get to where I wanted to go. And trust me, even after 2 years of doing this, it still felt like a leap when I did it. So the second thing is endurance. You need to be able to last. There's going to be highs and lows and all sorts of obstacles in your way, and you need to be able to emotionally, financially, and mentally endure it to give yourself the best chance of actually making it. In my previous videos, I mentioned that I started out in consulting and business before I went into the startup world as a designer. And from what I've seen, it's really rare to see individuals and businesses actually get it all right the first time. The ones that succeed are the ones that are culturally resilient and have the financial runway to try different things, pivot strategies, and change up operations to the ones that work. So this concept of building a bridge to your goal is really to give you a better look at the other side before you actually take that leap. On one hand, it could give you small wins towards your goal. On the other hand, you could figure out that this is really a big mistake and you don't want to go there. Either way, I think it's a win.